Good evening, Bucknutters. Welcome to What We Learned Live following Ohio State's 70-0 win over Grambling. I am Dave Biddle. Again, welcome into the show. I'll be joined by Dan Rubin very early in the show. I'll be joined by Heater, a.k.a. Heath Schneider, about 10 minutes after that. And then after postgame interviews, we'll be talking with Patrick Murphy and Steve Helwagen live from Ohio Stadium. So welcome in. Let's go with the three biggest things I learned. I might cheat and say four things, actually. Let's just start with Julian Sayin's accuracy and poise. Last week against Texas, the poise was the biggest thing that impressed me about Julian Sayin. That he's a redshirt freshman. Yeah, we know he was the number one quarterback recruit in the country. 5-star, handpicked by Nick Saban and Ryan Day, right? I mean, all of the accolades, but still, until you see it, you have to see it. We saw it last week. He was 13 of 20 passing, but that was with 4 drops. He would have been 17 to 20, and those drives, some of those drives would have continued. So who knows what his stats would have looked like. So even last week, I was very impressed with Julian Sayin. Today, and I know about the interception. Other than that, I mean, my gosh, this kid's accuracy is just unbelievable. Sets an Ohio State record, starts out 16 of 16 passing. 16 of 16. That's hard to do like you were playing backyard football. Like 16 to 16. Unbelievable. His quick release, his poise, his accuracy, everything about him, I love. Yeah, it'd be nice if he was 6'5" and not 6'1", but very impressed with Julian Sayin. So that's the first thing that we learned, in my opinion, is that Julian Sayin is the real deal. I think we already knew that, but this was a good building block. Like, well, what are they going to learn from the Grambling game? Well, a guy like Julian Sayin build his confidence. Start out 16 of 16. I mean, Ryan Day is not going to talk about that probably at the press conference, how he's over the moon about that. He's over the moon about that. Could not have drawn it up any better. All right, a couple other things that we learned. All right, man, I'm impressed with some of these young bucks. Riley Pettijohn, Bryson Rogers, Bo Jackson. I'm talking about the guys that didn't really play last week. Obviously, I'm impressed with, like, Devin Sanchez. Fahim Delane's out there flashing today. Isaiah West looks good. Bo Jackson needs to be a bigger part of this offense. And he will be. He will be. He looks really good. CJ was barely out there. Donaldson was barely out there today. I thought James Peoples looked good. CJ only had 5 carries. Donaldson, he looked good. Man, Bo Jackson looked good. And I think Sam Dixon looks good. Isaiah West was in the game before Sam Dixon. This RB room is stacked. I absolutely love it. But just overall, these young bucks, Riley Pettijohn is going to be an absolute stud here eventually. There's no doubt about that. How about Nate Roberts out there playing fullback? I know he had a drop late, but like overall, this kid getting on the field. I'm going to talk more about the tight ends in a moment, but just the fact that he got on the field. Mylan Graham would be, if he was the number 2 receiver this year, so it was J.J. Smith, Mylan Graham, would be like, heck yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Good luck. And he's the number 4 receiver, barely plays. And you saw what happened. It kicked him out a little quick pass. Boom, 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 boom. 20 yards, Mylan Graham. So I love these young bucks. I could go on and on. All right. Another thing I learned. I love Brandon Ennis. Love him. I do not need to see him returning punts any longer. He doesn't really have that quickness. He doesn't go north-south. He dances too much. I don't get it. I get it in a way. They're probably like, well, he's the number 3 receiver, and we're also going to throw the Max Clare in our tight ends, and probably isn't going to get as much action as he should, if he didn't have like Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate and all these guys around him. So it feels like they're throwing him a bone, because as soon as Bryson Rogers goes in there, boom, it's a spark. And that was not a fair catch. That was him kind of like, for me, it at least needs to go over your head. It doesn't have to go all the way, but at least here, this was like, you guys might not even see it. It was like, that's not a fair catch. Anybody who's ever watched football in their life, who has any understanding about football, understands that's not a fair catch call. So that was BS. We know that. Who cares? My point is, Bryson Rogers looks like a punt returner. Get him in there. You're talking about a guy that doesn't have a big enough role? Bryson Rogers. I also want to see Caleb Downs return punts. Not against Grambling. Not even next week against Ohio University, who right now is beating West Virginia. at sold-out Peden Stadium in Athens, Ohio. Not even next week against Ohio University. But in big games, I'd like to see Caleb Downs back there returning punts in big moments and big games. True freshman at Alabama. He had like 5 returns all year. Returned one to the house for a touchdown. Last year at Ohio State, handful at best punt returns. Took one to the house against Indiana. And that Ohio State was leading that game, but it was a close game in the second half. People forget. Early in the third quarter. Caleb Downs returns that touchdown. Buckeyes roll from there. I need to see Caleb Downs returning punts in big moments this year. All right, this tight end room. My goodness gracious. Have we seen better tight ends at Ohio State than this? As far as like one tight end? Yes, we have. John Frank is the best tight end to ever come through Ohio State, in my opinion. John Frank, look him up. If you're a young buck, look up John Frank. He's the best to ever come through Ohio State, bar none. And there's been many others that are really good. Ricky Dudley, even recently, like look at all the guys they put in the NFL recently. Cade Stover was a 3rd rounder. Ruckert was a 3rd rounder. Farrell was a 5th rounder. Vanette was a 3rd rounder and is still in the league. Jeff Hireman was a 3rd rounder. They've put tight ends and tight ends and tight ends in the league. Jake Ballard would have had a long career if he didn't get hurt with the Giants. And they've put a lot of tight ends in the league. 1 through 5, I've never seen anything like this. It is the best. The best. Max Clare was a luxury item. You have Will Kazmarek. You have Bennett Christian. You have Jelani Thurman, who looked really good today. Again, Nate Roberts, who typically with these 4 guys ahead of him, they'd be like, true freshman, good luck, but he's too good to keep off the field. So you hit him out there. Again, 2nd straight week playing a fullback role, goal line, getting the job done. And then you do have Max Clare as well. We really haven't seen Max Clare get unleashed yet. I know he had that drop last week, but man, a lot to be excited about here. So, here, let's go back through some of the things that we learned here. Julian Sayin's accuracy and poise, next level. Next level. The Buckeyes are in such good hands. I'd like to see him run, not today. I didn't need to see him run today. I'd like to see Julian Sayin pick up a cheap first down or 2 with his legs. I think it's important, very important in football. That quarterback, you have to at least be somewhat of a running threat. If Ohio State's in a big game and Julian hasn't really run the ball at all, and they do a naked bootleg near the goal line, that's an automatic touchdown against any defense because no one's going to be accounting for it. But yeah, I love what I'm seeing out of Julian Sayin. I don't like it. I love it. The quick release, the accuracy, the poise. I even like the way he sells the play fakes. He's really good on play action. The way he leans into the snap. There's something about that too. I just like the way this kid's got it, man. This kid has got it. Another one. Just another one in the long line of Ryan Day QBs who's an absolute stud. And again, I need to see better at punt returner. But man, I'm really impressed. Another thing that we learned, I want to go over this again. These young Buckeyes, I'm probably not even mentioning enough of them, but Bo Jackson, Riley Pettijohn, again, Devin Sanchez, we know he was going to play a huge role. These guys, this is a underrated freshman class, and it was the number 4 class in the country. So it wasn't it was the 14th class in the country. Underrated. That'd be easy to say. It's number 4 class in the country, still underrated. Ohio Bobcats interception. Looks like they will win in Athens. Coming here next week. Not over yet. 3 minutes left in Athens. Bobcats just pick off West Virginia. Ohio University 17, West Virginia 10 with 3 minutes left at sold-out Peden Stadium. All right. In this tight end room, I can't believe how good of a tight end room this is. We're going to hear from Dan Rubin here in a moment. Then we're going to hear from Heath Schneider. And then after post-game interviews, we will hear from Patrick Murphy and Steve Helwagen, presuming they are able to access the internet at Ohio Stadium. They will be. It's all good. I was talking with several of my friends before the game, and we all agreed Ohio State was going to win today. We had bold takes. Dan, really good to see you.
We did agree on that?
We did. We did.
They won.
So, Mike, I'm just going to go through my main takeaways. I'll just go rapid. I'm not going to give anything extra than what I've already said. So my main takeaways: Julian Sayin's accuracy and poise. Wow. The young bucks, I'm impressed with guys like Bo Jackson, Riley Pettijohn, on and on and on and on. I don't need to see Brandon Ennis at punt return anymore. I really like Brandon Ennis as the slot receiver. I don't need to see him returning punts any longer. We have other guys that can do that. This tight end room is ridiculous. I cheated. Instead of 3, I said 4.
Those are 4 good ones. That's for sure. We discussed, I think Mark Porter was the one who said this, that don't be surprised if Julian Sayin comes out this week after last week and just absolutely lights it up. You know this, Dave. The word out of training camp and those who got a chance to see him a lot, the name they compared him to was Dwayne Haskins, just in terms of arm talent and release. So he's thrown – how many passes has he thrown here since he's 30, 40 passes? I don't remember many of them being inaccurate. And today was just – we had a boarding house item a while back from an NFL quarterback coach who said in 7-on-7, there's no rush and the ball should never hit the ground. And when I watched Sayin, the ball never hit the ground. And this was pretty much a 7-on-7 effort for him. It's hard to even get your mind around how good they were offensively and how easy it was. So I don't want to make too much out of it because they were overmatched. It's not even a correct term. I'll tell you what else I learned. Tom Brady knowledge is 10 pounds of football and a 5-pound bag of Jerry. Let's see that commercial again. Good God. That was unbelievable. Pettijohn's tackle was form tackled for a lifetime. I will mention that I'm watching some highlights here of Oregon. Oregon looks good. In the round table, we were asked which freshman we wanted to see. And I said, let me see Riley Pettijohn, and we will see a lot of them, and Grambling won't like the site. And that's a fact.
I like our picks.
I said Thomas Alford came in.
Said Riley Pettijohn. Can't go wrong either way. Bo Jackson or Riley Pettijohn. Go ahead. Sorry, sir.
Speaking of Bo Jackson, I can already hear it now on the message boards. Can you hear it, Dave?
I can hear it. Oh, he should be starting.
More carries for Bo Jackson. Yeah, I thought Donaldson looked great again.
Right.
Peoples look good.
Good too. Yeah.
Yeah. He might not be. Look, we were spoiled last year from Travion, the year he had, and that explosiveness, and just seeing someone. That's not realistic to have that again, maybe right away. But look, every back they put in there was good. Every freshman they put in there seemed to do something right away. So it was impressive.
So if you had to pick, I was asked this today. If you had to pick, and I know we're Ohio State guys, so kind of cheating. If you had to pick one team right now to win the national championship, and you not against the field, you just have to pick one, but you have to bet your house on it or whatever you want to say. Your car, my car. I'll bet your car. You bet my car. You're taking one team. Who is it? Is it Ohio State?
Of course. I mean, I'm not going to be the one to say that. I can tell you that as I look out,
I
think here are the teams that have impressed me. I think Oregon's impressive. To beat Ohio State, you're going to need a quarterback. I don't know about Dante Moore, but you're going to need some really explosive players because I don't see anybody holding Ohio State's offense down long term once they get into a groove, especially the passing game. So Oregon would be a team that I would look at right now. My son just texted me and told me Troy's killing Clemson.
Yes.
That is awesome.
It was 16. Well, killing them. It was 16-0 last time I looked. What is it now?
He was hopeful, I think.
Oh, now Clemson's up 17-16.
Wow, that's a bummer.
It was 16-0 Troy in the second half. Now Clemson has gone on a bender here. Goodness. Yeah, so like Georgia, Oregon, Penn State. Maybe
Oregon, Penn State. Circle that one. Oregon, Penn State's a biggie for the Big Ten. And look, let's see how Oklahoma hosts, the Khakis tonight. Anything's possible.
The former Khaki. Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about Michigan tonight.
We are. Plenty.
Can't wait. Maybe I shouldn't be happy. Maybe we're going to learn some things I don't want to learn, but I think Oklahoma's going to get it done. What's your vibe with that game, Dan?
Man, it's interesting to me because Oklahoma, if you remember, there were some times last year where they were kind of like one of those elite programs that was really in the dumps. But now when you can go into the transfer portal and bring in a quarterback who I think was the Heisman favorite heading into this week, is that true? He was close, John Mateer.
Yeah, Mateer. Yep.
You can change the whole fortune of your team.
Nussmeier. Yeah.
So I have not seen as much of Mateer. I didn't, I saw him a few times at Washington State, and Michigan's defense is really good. It always is. It has been for a while. So let's see. Now, if Oklahoma runs roughshod and their Underwood looks like a freshman quarterback, that wouldn't bother me too much.
That wouldn't bother me at all. Yeah, Mateer's really good, man. You look back at his year at Washington State last year, like fantastic. He even runs the ball really well. Like and Oklahoma wasn't good at all. I'm really looking forward to seeing that game. So Ohio State, you look at the backup D tackles, listen, I'm not seeing anything that I like out of the backup D tackles. And this might be low-hanging fruit because we've talked about it all offseason. Tywone Malone goes.
I knew you were gonna. Once he missed that tackle in the game, I saw it when I heard the play-by-play guy call him out. I'm like, oh, Dave's gonna go after Tywone Malone. It's all right, fair. He did fly off.
He doesn't get any push. It wasn't just that he did miss that tackle as he's getting rocked backwards by
a Grambling.
You have a Grambling offensive lineman's knocking him backwards. You think a Big Ten offensive lineman won't? Unbelievable. That guy, he's a fifth-year senior.
Yeah. And
Will Smith, I'm not seeing anything out of him.
Yeah. Will was in there on the fourth down for Texas, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt being in there. I'll say this. If you want to be positive, Caden McDonald is something else now. He is something else. He is something I'm trying to think. Tyreek Williams was a first-round draft pick. And in terms of, I'm not going to say he's better than Tyreek, but he's certainly got the potential to be. He's a playmaker, man. Very, very impressive.
Best one tech the Buckeyes have had in a long, long time. Because I know Big Hank played a little both. Big Hank, size of a one tech, quickness of a three tech, which was why Big Hank was so good. I'm telling you,
Big Hank wasn't a first-round draft pick.
K-Mac is just a force in there, dude.
He does he's one of those guys at defensive tackle. He's got some draft upside because he gives you a little more athleticism getting after the quarterback and stopping the run. He's impressive. There was a point in time in the third quarter, man, where we just kept putting in freshmen and they would either score a touchdown, get a fumble recovery, run for 25 yards. Tarvis Alford came in. I'm like, he looks amazing. So it was like gluttony at one point. It also made me think, anybody who doesn't think the Buckeyes have a firm grasp on talent acquisition and how to set up their roster, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt now. It's pretty clear that every guy who came in looked ready to play. Now, I imagine coming into this week, they all knew they were going to get some burn. So you pay a little more attention in practice if you're a fifth or sixth string. But they Bo Jackson does look like he has everything you'd want and a guy who's going to carry the ball 20 times a game.
Yes. He's one of those guys, it looks like it's going to be a 5-yard run. It's an 8-yard run. It looks like it's going to be a 10-yard run. It's a 15-yard run. Oh, it might be a 20. Oh, no, he's going to take it to the house. I know. I could not be more. And I know it's Grambling. I know. But I love Bo Jackson. And I know the staff's high on him. He looked great in the spring. They talked him up during camp. So it's not just how he looked today. But he did look great today. And I think he's going to be a big part of this offense going forward, one way or the other.
I know they said this, and I say it every time. But when your name is Lamar Bo Jackson, something is cosmic about you. You just are kind of put on this earth to be a great football player. But for a freshman, and he's a little wiry now, you can tell. He's going to gain some weight. He has number one running back pedigree, the look to him. Donaldson's a really nice back. Peoples is a really nice back. But if you're talking upside as a number one guy, who you can just kind of ride out like in Zeke fashion, that's a long way to go. But Bo Jackson, he looked really, really impressive. Isaiah West looked good when he was in there.
He really
didn't look good.
Dixon looked good. Yeah, I know.
Bryson Rogers looked good, even though he kind of did the fair catch. It was like maybe they didn't see it.
That wasn't a fair catch. You have to at least be this high, and even that I don't even consider. You at least need to be. He was You can't, if you're watching on YouTube, you probably can't even see my hands. Like, that's not a fair catch.
I think it was kind of a belly flop. It was kind of wasn't. I'm going to go because he kind of did it. Was he setting himself? Had caught a nice slant. I'll tell you another thing that went through my mind when I was watching Julian Sayin put up, as my son said, video game numbers. Boy, Lincoln Keenholz has got to be pretty good if he was competing with that guy. You know what I'm saying? That was not a Devin Brown, Kyle McCord situation there, people. Because Sayin,
we pride ourselves on shooting you guys straight. Dan and I told you the entire time we like Lincoln Keenholz. This is not a real competition. We said this the entire time. Like, nothing against Lincoln, and we understood what Coach Dave was doing. We told you the entire time. Julian's the guy. All right, I'm gonna bring Heater in. Dan, thank you so much for dropping in, my friend.
I enjoyed it. Talk to you on Monday.
Yes, sir. Dan Rubin. Let's bring in my man in Amsterdam, Heath Schneider. Welcome in, my friend.
Dave Biddle, my man in Inglewood. What's going on?
I'll tell you what, life's pretty good.
Life is really good. I loved what you guys were just talking about with Sayin and Lincoln. Agree wholeheartedly. When I think about Sayin today and even last week, right? Because we know he had the 4 drops, should have been 17 for 20. Again, the drives would have changed, but 13 of 20 goes to 17 of 20. Today, 18 of 19 with 1 delayed bad decision. And it's not for me so much the percentage of completions. It is the tight spiral, catchable ball with really fantastic ball placement. I sat there today, and for the first time since he left, I was like, that reminds me of CJ Stroud. Like, Stroud was a ball placement guy. And Sayin looks to me in the first couple of weeks like he's a ball placement guy. Those 4 drops were drops that were last week that were truly catchable balls. They didn't have to stretch out. They didn't have to dive or anything like that. And he's putting that in such a fantastic spot where it's catchable and they can do something with it after the catch. And so you can get yak for a lot with that after that. Lincoln on the other side, he completed 6 of 7, but look how he completed them. And just think about his history, spring games. We will not talk about the bowl game he played in. That was trash, and it's completely not his fault. But he is not nearly as accurate, right? And so if you're not nearly as accurate, you have to do something else to make up for it. Quicker processing times, et cetera, et cetera. There's a reason you said Julian all along was the man. And this is not knocking on Lincoln. Dude's a tremendous athlete and seems to be a well-liked teammate, but talent wins out. And Julian Sayin has that talent from my seat. It just looks and reminds me so much of CJ Stroud in terms of ball placement and how it's getting there. A nice tight spiral, which makes it catchable. The location where it's going to be him, and maybe you can get a guy in there. He had a bad throw on that touchdown. He threw it a little short last week, but today he looked absolutely outstanding. Again, let's adjust for competition levels. This was Grambling or Grambling State, depending on how old you are, I guess. But boy, he looked really, really good and has for a while. So I love it. Love it. You also mentioned Bo Jackson. I put it in my immediately after the game analysis. I'm all in, 100% all in on Bo Jackson. I don't need to see James Peoples anymore. He had and CJ sounds still
go that far.
I've already gone that far. Let's talk about James Peoples. Let's talk about James Peoples the last 2 games, right? What we heard all offseason, he's bigger, he's stronger, he knows the bigger, stronger, faster, everything the $6 million man was. Except I'm not seeing it on the field. Today I saw somebody who was good against Grambling, not great, right? He was not explosive, great against Grambling. Last week I saw somebody who was less than mediocre against Texas. again, adjust for your competition levels and recognize that Texas is a top 5 defense. Grambling is awful. But James Peoples was below average last week. He was 2.1 per carry. Today he had a long of 12. He had 7.4 yards per carry. Awesome. Fantastic. It was Grambling. I would expect you to do that. But those were not popping yards that I saw. I didn't see yards that he put up that I was like, oh, there's the burst I was looking for. I saw every bit of that. I saw vision. I saw cut. I saw burst with Bo Jackson. And I am more than willing to get way out on the limb and tell you I'm all in on Bo Jackson. I don't care if it's Grambling. Everything I saw on his tape before, minus when he got hurt last year, like he's awesome. He's good. He's the best we got.
Rich Rod just lost to Ohio.
Ooh.
Again.
This
time the real Ohio.
Yes.
He liked to try to tug on Superman's cape.
Yeah.
As he goes 0 for 4, or 0 for 3, I guess it was. How long was Rich Rod there? Was it 3 years? It was a disaster. Whatever it was bad. I think it was 3 and out.
Yeah.
John
8, 9, 10. Yeah.
3 and out. That's right.
8, 9, 10, and then they brought in for 11 the bad year, and that's their only
Hope
win.
got lucky. He was there in 11 during the Bowman-Fickle year, and then he got smoked by Urban 3 straight times.
Yeah.
The Ohio University Bobcats defeat the West Virginia Mountaineers 17-10 at sold-out Eden Stadium.
Brady Hoke's on a milk carton still, isn't he?
Brady Hoke?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was at is he still at San Diego State?
I know he went there at one point. I don't know.
Then he left there and then went back there, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still there.
Yeah, I have no idea. Clearly, he was not ready for that spot. To be honest with you, if you go back to the Rich Rod, he was trying a whole different way. He was trying to bring his stuff that he was doing at West Virginia, and he had to change all the personnel. He was finally to a point where I thought the personnel that he had brought in was going to start to work, and they're like, "No, we're done. It doesn't work. Get out."
Right.
And I swear, if I thought if he got a 4th year, that it would have been a good team. But
it's funny too. It's so funny. And I know you know this, but people forget about this. Sometimes I'll even not forget about it. But when I think about it, I'm like, wow, I have to remind myself. So Alabama, when they were looking for a coach at one point, they went after Rich Rodriguez at West Virginia.
Yeah.
He turned them down. He eventually went to Michigan, but we'll get to that in a second.
True Michigan.
In the meantime, after Alabama gets turned down by Rich Rodriguez, they're like, all right, we'll pivot to this Nick Saban guy. Imagine Alabama. I mean, that is just falling back asswards into good luck. You try to give the job to Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He failed at Michigan. You think he would have failed at Alabama? Hell yeah, he would have.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you fall into Nick Saban, who goes on the greatest dynasty in college football history. It's still unbelievable to me that happened.
Oh, yeah, those little twists of fate, right? But at least he brought Sam McGuffey into Ann Arbor, and that he was going to be the savior of the program. Texas high school legend Sam McGuffey. Let me put some respect on that. Good grief, that's crazy.
This tight end room. I've been saying it. We've seen better tight ends, maybe than even Max Clay or some of these guys like John Frank, Ricky Dudley. We can name tight ends that were fantastic here. I've never seen a room like this, though, 1 through 5.
No, I have not either. And I did not have on my bingo card for today's game Will Kazmarek up the seam for the first touchdown of the game. That was nowhere at all on my bingo card. Nowhere. This tight end, I don't think it's hyperbole to say that this is the best tight end room that we've seen. We've had some good tight ends come through, right? Ben Hartsock played for a few years in Indy. Ricky Dudley was a first-round pick after the 95 season. You've had
Eddie George. He was drafted ahead of Eddie George in the 96 draft. Yes.
How insane is that?
Yaka Batuka was drafted ahead of Eddie George thanks to Bill Young, Ohio State's defensive coordinator. I always said Bill Young Ohio State's defensive coordinator in 95. They brought in they promoted Fred Puggett the next year, and that's when the Silver Bullets were born in 96.
Yeah.
Bill Young allowing Michigan just to run off left tackle. That made Tim Biakabatuka a millionaire.
So it did, absolutely, 100%. Switching back for a second to Ricky Dudley, the meteoric rise that he had from a guy who didn't play football to first-round draft pick was insane. I mean, just absolutely fantastic with his big bug eyes. And then, you know,
he did.
Hey, I have no hair and I'm way overweight. So but I don't have bug eyes. I probably shouldn't complain. So I also did not have Max Clare with 2 receptions after 2 games. And I don't know if this is right or wrong. Hold on, let me look real quick at the box score.
They're just trying to get him to come back next year, man.
You didn't have a good season, buddy. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to come back.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to go and be like a 4th round pick. We'll pay you like you're a 2nd rounder and you come back.
Exactly. That's the way to do it.
Caleb could come back next year. Like with NIL, any chance Caleb would come back? Like NIL is a factor for guys like the guys that we had last year, like JT and Jack, Denzel, all these guys that came back that would have been drafted after their junior year, but would not have been even drafted as high as they were this past year. Dude, if you're a top 10 pick like Caleb Downs, you're going pro. 100%. And you should.
Day 3, right? The NIL is not going to keep a top half of the first round pick in college. And if it does, I'll be shocked.
Right.
But I also on the bingo card for the season, I didn't have Max Clare with 2 receptions and Jelani Thurman and Will with more receptions after 2 games, Will Kazmarek with more touchdowns after 2 games. Nowhere on there. But that just speaks to what you said of a very talented tight end room. And kudos to Will Kazmarek, by the way, who is getting playing time because of how he's blocking and then showing up and showing out in the passing game as well. Like, that is kudos to him for all the hard work he put in.
Finding things to nitpick about after a 70-0 win is tough sledding. But like seriously, we talked all offseason about backup D tackles, and it's like it's evident.
Yeah.
We knew this. We didn't have to hear them say it or see it. We knew they did not like their depth at D tackle. Now you look at it like Tywone Malone's first D tackle off the bench. I'm not seeing anything out of him. Will Smith Jr. I am rooting big time for him. Not seeing it. Jarquez Carter, I actually have a lot of hope for, but he's a true freshman. But first 2 guys off the bench, I'm not seeing it with Malone and Smith Jr. What about you?
No, I'm not. You're thin. You're in depth. At some point is going to hit any injury going to change or fight and walk.
Peter's breaking up us on a little bit. Hey, maybe log out and log back in, Heath. If you can hear me. I'll text him too so he can tell me. I'm gonna just let Heater know. This is why I need a producer so I could just do this without like having you guys here. I'm just gonna let him know. Just log out and log back in if you can. Thank you. Live podcasting. What are you gonna do? But man, I mean, I could not be more excited about this start for this season for Ohio State. Like we've seen it time and time again where the Buckeyes will win not time and time again, twice. Hopefully this year's going to be different. But like think about 2002. Almost everybody comes back. Obviously some big misses like Mike Doss. Obviously Maurice Clarett didn't come back that year, but the majority of the 2002 national championship team came back in 2003 and they fell short. That was still a really good team. It still had a chance even going to that Michigan game at Michigan if they would have won. And that was a good game. That was a good game. Ohio State came back, and Michigan got up early. Ohio State came back. That was the only time Tressel lost to Michigan at Ann Arbor in 2003. If Ohio State wins that game, they go to the national championship game. That's how close they were in 03. Then you look at 15 after they win the 14 title. Almost everybody coming back. We're like, let's go, right? Juggernaut. Open the season up with Virginia Tech. Ohio State's only loss in 2014. At Virginia Tech in 2015, just run them off their own field. You're like, let's go. Everybody's back pretty much, with a few exceptions like, Michael Bennett, key guys, Curtis Grant. Most everybody's back. And they just didn't have the hunger that year. I'm telling you, man, I see the hunger this year, and we have Heater back. Heater, I see the hunger this year. I was talking about how, after the 2002 title, we went into 03, majority of the team's back. Look out. 2014, going into 2015, majority of the team's back. Look out. I think this year, this team seems hungry, and maybe one of the reasons is because most of the team's not back. They had 14 guys drafted, and a lot of people are like, oh, Ohio State's rebuilding this year. They start off the season, a lot of people have them ranked fifth. They've talked about it. Talk is cheap, but they seem to have that hunger that you normally don't see from returning national champs.
Yeah, and I think that comes directly from the top. I mean, Ryan Day has talked about it. We're not defending anything. This is a whole new season. This is a whole new team, generically and colloquially. I agree with you. In 03, because 02 was such a magical season with Holy Buckeye and all those close wins, all the way down to and including the actual championship game, double overtime, etc. You have a very difficult time recreating that kind of magic 2 years in a row. Think about teams in the past that have gone on truly magical runs. And this is in no way reference to last year's Ohio State team, because I don't think that was a magical run. I think that was a team that was finally living up to the hype that was warranted for them to bring in. But when I think about those teams that had magical runs, kind of 02, it's tough to recreate. And you can lose that kind of hunger. Same thing that you said about 14 to 15. You had then a quarterback controversy as well. Going from last year to this year, you don't have any of that. Everything's pretty much set in concrete, and the program is stable and is chugging along in a way that I don't think we've seen in a year after championship like this in the past.
Great stuff on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Sorry about the internet. I will chat to you.
Oh, you're going to apologize for the internet. Geez. Yeah. Once you figure that out, let me know, okay?
Yeah. All right. Say hey to Patrick.
Hey, thanks, man. I will. You can say hi to Patrick right now.
Hey, Patrick.
Hey, Heater.
Hey, brother.
All right,
thanks, you guys
Heath.
have a good one. I'll chat with you.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you. All right, let's bring in Patrick Murphy live from the Horseshoe. All right, your biggest takeaways, Pat.
It's tough to really come up with a great takeaway. Steve and I were talking about this before he came down to go to the media room, because he's doing our quick takes this year. And look, you can talk about Sayin's start. You can talk about the defense. All those are real things. But as Ryan Day just said, that was an overmatched team. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard him say that, despite them playing overmatched teams plenty throughout his career. But, I mean, he gave Grambling credit for coming in here and competing for 4 quarters. But, I mean, you saw it with some of the injuries that they took. This isn't a team that Ohio State should be playing. There's a reason these two teams have never played before. There were rescheduled games, which is why this game ended up on the schedule. So I don't know if there's a ton to take away. I think the biggest thing is that they came out and did their job, executed. There was no slow start after last week's win. There's no hangover from that game. I think this team really recognizes that, look, they haven't accomplished anything yet, and they'll have bigger tests down the road. But this, just because you beat Texas week 1, that doesn't mean you're going to be the national champion. You're going to be the Big Ten champion. Any of that. You still have to come out, and even when you're playing a team like Grambling that you're definitely better than, you got to go out and execute and score touchdowns early and keep them off the board and do all the things they did. And I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, so I'll go through just a few things. You're right, because 70-0 win over an FCS team, it's okay, even though the most decorated HBCU team in our country, like Grambling, like Eddie Robinson growing up, they were just dominant, but still, so I have a lot of respect for them. But still, so through 2 weeks, we've definitely learned Julian Sayin's poise is so impressive. his accuracy, his quick release, all of that. I know he had the interception, but he starts off 16 of 16. You wrote a story, sets the new Ohio State record for starting out 16 of 16. This kid, again, not so much today, but even today, though, his poise for a redshirt freshman really, really impresses me, Pat.
100%. I think that you saw some throws. Like, look, even if guys are open sometimes, you still got to make the throw, right? Like the pass to Jeremiah Smith, you got to deliver that. Just because he's open, not every quarterback puts that where it needs to be. The throw to Carnell Tate, he was not open. But he's Carnell Tate, and you can get him the ball if you put it in his vicinity. So I think there was good decisions by him outside of the interception. I think the interception, it was a little bit of his first read, which would have been an easier throw, wasn't there, and he turns and tries to make a play. Probably a little overconfidence after going 16 for 16. Like, whatever, I can make this throw, right? But Ryan Day said like that can't happen, and he can't do that again. Then Julian came in the media room, said the same thing. He's got to get on the film and watch that again. But I think, look, he's every bit the player I think we thought he was. I wish that they would have let him open it up a little bit more last week, just so we could have seen it against a real defense early in the season. We did see some throws, but it's still to complete 16 straight passes is hard to do. No matter, even routes on air, that can be difficult with some of the throws that they were making. The record to start a game was Will Howard completing 14 in the national championship. And I think the record just in general is 17 that CJ did at one point. So, that's a special thing to do. Ohio State's played overmatched teams before, and quarterbacks haven't done that. They've had some pretty good quarterbacks in recent years.
So I'll go through the last few things I learned, then we'll get you out of here. We'll bring Steve in. I know you guys don't want to be here too late for a 70-0 win. So a couple other things I learned, man. So I'm so impressed with a lot of these young bucks. Like we talk about Bo Jackson. Heater said he is all in. Heater wanted to make sure everybody, after he said it 4 times, I want to make sure everybody knows. Heath, Schneider, my man in Amsterdam, is all in on Bo Jackson. I get it. He looks great. So Bo Jackson, Riley Pettijohn, we already knew Devin Sanchez. TJ Alford, he looked good. Mylan Graham would be a good number 2 receiver for this team. He's like number 4, number 5. Robert's playing. Delane, Isaiah West. Man, these young bucks look good. So I want you to comment on that. I don't want to see Brandon Ennis return punts anymore. I want to see Bryson Rogers back there.
Yeah.
Or Caleb Downs. And I love this tight end room. But, young bucks, punt returner. Go.
Yeah. The chances that the freshmen got, the young guys, was great. Again, this is a team that they should be able to go out and do some of these things against, but you have to go out and execute. Riley Pettijohn to come out and in the first couple plays of the second half, first handful of plays of the second half, he's got a fumble return for a touchdown and forces a fumble. That's just execution there. And then, who else did you say? Bo Jackson. The kid hits the hole and runs hard. Now the holes were big today, but you've got to like the fact that he goes out and executes. Even Isaiah West, I thought, Sam Dixon getting the touchdown. We knew they had a stable of running backs that were pretty exciting, right? You mentioned Mylan Graham. I think what he ended up with 1 catch, but it was still a pretty nice one.
Yeah, right. It shows you exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, right.
We all know it. He gets it, makes the guy miss, goes for 20 yards. Geez, that guy would be a really good starting receiver on this team, but he's the number 4.
Yeah. And then the punt returns, I agree with you. I saw you tweeted that right about the same time I did, that maybe get Bryson Rogers back there. Now I didn't see, I saw you said you didn't think it was a fair catch. I didn't see the play. They didn't show the replay.
At least go head low. I would say as part of your fingers need to at least be over your head, in my opinion. Yeah. So if I'm right here, I don't think that counts. And this was I don't know if you'll even be able to see it. It was he raised his hand, so it was going, but it wasn't. I've never seen that called in football, where it's that low. I don't. That's an exaggeration. It was lower than that. It was kind of
right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I never saw it, and then I don't know if they showed a replay or not, but I missed it if they did. I like that he caught the ball and went. And look, I like a lot about Brandon Ennis, but he's letting the ball bounce too many times, and it's put Ohio State in some bad positions. I think some guys are really good at this stuff. Some guys aren't. I think even last week we saw Jeremiah Smith. He fair caught that punt that was pretty well blocked. If he takes off and runs, he's probably scoring a touchdown. So, some guys just, it's not their thing, and I think that's okay. you don't need to get Brandon Inniss touches now that he's a starting receiver. You got other guys. I would like to see Bryson Rodgers get an opportunity, or Mylan Graham, or guys like that do it in practice and whatnot. So, yeah, I think, look, you want to make special teams a weapon, put the guys who can do something out there. Brandon Inniss has been doing it for a year now. And again, I'm not trying to say things negative about Brandon. I really like him. I thought he played well today, but it just seems like that may not be his forte.
Do the Crew play tonight?
They do not, but my U.S. men's national team lost to South Korea, so that's unfortunate. Right before they come to Columbus on Tuesday night.
At least they didn't lose to Trinidad and Tobago to not make the World Cup or anything. Too soon?
Yeah, well, they only are going to make the World Cup because they're hosting it. They've lost, I think, like
World Cup, right?
10 straight games or something along those lines. They're bad, but no one wants to hear about that. I don't even want to talk about it.
This was the golden generation too. All right, you're part of the golden generation at Bucknuts. I appreciate you, Patrick.
All right, I'll talk to you later, Dave.
He is Patrick Murphy. Let's bring in Steve Helwagen, also live from the Ohio Stadium. Steve, I know mostly you want to talk about the Ohio Bobcats beating West Virginia, right? I mean, like, how about that? Peden Stadium sold out. Let's go.
You know, my comment about that earlier in the week, I said, whoever has the Coors or the Budweiser distributorship in Athens County will be able to retire after this weekend, because all of the drunks from West Virginia and, of course, all of the Ohio University students and alumni, they are going to party until Wednesday after this result today down there, and they should. Man, you know, Albin leaves and the next coach steps right up, and nobody really transferred out who had eligibility to come back because they wanted to play for this coach. I think it's Brian Smith, I think is his name. And they give Rutgers one hell of a run. A lot of people talked about how the officials kind of jobbed them in that first game at Rutgers, but I don't know whose officials were on the game today. I assume Big 12, but wasn't good enough because Ohio University, you know, the score I saw was 17-10. I assume that's
17-10, yeah. And they come to the Horseshoe next week. Yeah.
Yeah. What an intriguing and fun game we've got here 1 week from today in prime time.
Intrastate rivalry.
Yeah, on Peacock. Now it's on Peacock. So I know, like that scene from the Michael Weston show, Burn Notice. I know you're going to shoot me, and then you're going to stab me, and then you're going to kill me. I know you're never going to subscribe to Peacock. I know you're never going to do it. Next week you probably will, but whatever.
I'm subscribed to Peacock, mostly because my youngest likes.
You have to if you want to watch the game, unless you want to come down here. My youngest
likes what? Well, if you have like a family, it's actually very, very like inexpensive because I get to watch sports. Like my youngest gets to do like Office reruns and stuff like that. You know,
exactly. There's value there.
So, like, what did we learn? Like, let's start with Julian Sayin. What have you learned about Julian Sayin the first 2 weeks?
Well, I wrote this in the quick takes. I'm like, C.J. Stroud fashioned himself as a ball
distributor?
Ball distributing. I got to look it up. I got it right here. Let's see. Sayin. He was a ball placement specialist. That's what he called himself. If he was a ball placement specialist, I'm not sure what that makes Julian Sayin, but he's damn good. I'll just say that. And the problem that he had, and again, we're picking nits here, his 17th pass, he starts looking this direction, okay? And now he's on the left hash, and he thinks he's going to throw a pass to the clear sideline to Tate, who was wide open for about a split second. But my God, that ball takes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to cross the field. And even the kid from Grambling made a break on the ball. So against, let's just say Illinois or Washington, that's a pick six, 100 yards going the other direction. So you can't make that throw. Caps and sleeves at this level. So, but I think he was nothing short of amazing watching what he did. It'd be hard to complete 16 consecutive passes wearing full pads against air. If
you ever played backyard football, it'd be hard. 10 Mississippi, like all-time quarterback style.
Exactly. It's just incredibly.
It's hard because somebody's going to drop a pass. You're going to throw it maybe a little bit. Dude, and listen, I know it's Grambling, but I'm so impressed with Julian Sayin. All right. Brandon Ennis is punt returner. We're going to nitpick here. I like Brandon Ennis a lot. I'm thrilled he's on this team. He's a leader. He's a tough guy. He's a captain, which says a lot. First-year starter. You don't see that very often. A junior who's never started becoming a captain. I love this kid. I don't need to see him returning punts, though, man. He doesn't go north-south. He dances too much. As soon as Bryson Rogers goes in there, I'm like, that's what I want to see out of a punt returner.
Yeah, he brought a spark to the game, no question about it, even though there was a mishap with him apparently signaling for a fair catch. And I don't know if he did or did. I didn't. By that point,
he didn't. That was a bullshit call, but whatever.
I had well stopped watching the game by that point, Dave. So I'm sitting there trying to concoct the quick takes, and I'll watch the second half and gather up what I need to know about the backups who played when this is replayed. I presume. I DVR'd it, so I can go back through it anytime I want. But I'm not so much worried about not watching. Isaiah West and Bo Jackson and those guys running the ball. Bo Jackson, I did see some of him, and he was fabulous. So.
He looks really good, Steve. Like, I don't want to get too – because I know it's Grambling, and, like, there's a reason he's third. But, like, man, like – and I really like C.J. Donaldson and James Peoples, but, like, we all knew Bo Jackson was going to be, like, a factor on this team one way or the other. If he's going to be the third-string tailback all year, so be it. But he wasn't going to be your typical third-string tailback. What I'm seeing out of Bo Jackson, like, I'll be surprised if he's not, like, an integral part of this offense in big games going forward.
I agree with you. If he wasn't a true freshman, I think you might have seen him last week with the way that Peoples was not getting the job done last week. Obviously, they started tonight's game or today's game with the idea of getting Peoples into a flow. And he only had 8 carries, but he did get 57 yards, average 7 yards a carry. Much better than the 10 carries for 20 yards. And, Texas is so rugged, though. I mean, what can you say? That's what we talked about it after the game. That's what a sledgehammer 1 versus 3 game looks like. I mean, when they played Texas in the bowl game with Henderson and Judkins in this offensive line, they had 80-some yards rushing, and they had the same 80 yards here last week against Texas. Today, obviously, looked a lot different. Grambling's their body's not as big, not as fast, obviously, but not as talented. But so this team is dripping with talent, the Ohio State team, and you got to see so many young players. Zion Grady, Riley Pettyjohn. I mean, just so many young players making plays. Aaron Scott, they overruled his interception, but he made a great break on the ball nonetheless.
I thought he kept his arm under it. I know it looked like it was rolling around, but I thought he kept his arm under it the entire time.
You know what there ought to be? There ought to be a rule. If, like in Ohio high school, if it's 30 or more in the second half, we're going to wind that thing. I'm not so much worried about that. I'm not so much worried about that in college. But if it's 40 or more points or 35 or more points, we ain't doing no more reviews. Reviews are over. Whatever the guys on the field call, we're going on with life. I mean, if it's targeting, yes, we'll buzz down for targeting, but no more reviews. When it's 35, we're going on with life. It's the guys on the field can call it, and if you were that concerned about one single play, then you shouldn't have fallen behind by 35. So that's my way to fix this game.
Let's get you out of here on this, Steve. So I want to get your thoughts on this tight end room. It's the best that I've seen at Ohio State, like 1 through 5. And then just any other parting shots you have, my friend.
Yeah, I love the tight end group. I mean, Will Kazmarek, a lunch pail guy, comes in, does all the pass protection last week on the touchdown to Tate, and gets the reward. The first touchdown today went to Will Kazmarek right down the seam. And we've been waiting for that, and that was just fabulous to see. Max Clare got involved. Jelani Thurman had a couple big catches in this game to move some sticks. I think Bennett Christian had a catch or two. So, yeah, they have a tremendous, tremendous group of tight ends, and that is only going to serve this offense going forward. And, goal line situations, whatever it is. I think they were fabulous. Beyond that, I mean, I'm starting to think the secondary really is the best in America. And that was kind of borne out again today with the pick by Downs. Downs was up at the line of scrimmage and dropped into coverage and All-American. I don't think the quarterback never saw him, and he had to make a great leap, go up to catch that ball. And, it was like a rocket, and he went up there and got it. I thought again, and he made some open field tackles in this game early on that got Grambling off the field. I mean, this guy is just uncanny. Jalen McClain, I thought, had an outstanding game while he was out there. Igbinosin, I thought, made a couple nice plays. But it was kind of like a spring game, Dave, where these guys made a cameo, and then it was like, grab a ball cap and get your ass over on the sideline, so that type of thing.
Right.
But yeah, it was. I'm just sitting there so impressed. Like, if you had a checklist of everything you wanted to see happen today, you damn near saw it all. I mean, Keenholt's got to play a quarter and a half. St. Clair got to play 2 series.
No injuries.
No injuries that I saw. Yeah, I mean, it's
huge. Yeah.
This thing is clipping along at warp speed right now. And I'm harking back to what Ryan Day said a year ago. We were sitting there at the interviews at the Woody Hayes Center. He goes, the storms are coming. You don't know where they're coming from. You don't know what they'll be, but they're coming. So, okay, tap the brakes. We'll see what happens. But OU, then a week off, then at Washington, and then it's the thick of the Big Ten. Man, that October is tough, and November is not quite as difficult. I mean, it starts difficult with Penn State, and it ends difficult with Michigan, but you got UCLA and Rutgers there in the middle, and maybe Purdue as well. So, yeah, it's going to get real here before we know it. Illinois, my goodness, they put a whipping on Duke today, and OSU has to go there in a few weeks. So
They do.
man, it's
Turnover battle 5-0.
Yeah, October is going to be harder than we thought month, I think, for these Ohio State Buckeyes, but we'll see how it goes.
So the other OU, Oklahoma, picked up a 3rd and 9 against Michigan down the seam. Guy made a really good play. Now Oklahoma has the ball at Michigan's 21. First down. All right, we'll get you out of there on that, Steve. No score early in Michigan, Oklahoma driving.
Awesome.
All right, bud. I appreciate
bro.
you.
We will see you later, and God
All right,
bless everybody out there. Take care.
Thanks, Steve. Steve Helwagen, live from Ohio University. Now you look at the Oklahoma Sooners opening drive. Now inside the 20, a couple other things. I know you guys are just probably going to watch the Oklahoma game. Well, I'm going to answer a couple of questions we have in the queue here. Jermaine on Facebook. Are you worried about the pass rush? Not really. Like, we'll see, like, when they need, if it's a big game and they can't get pressure on the quarterback. Because I think with Arch last week, they confused him so much. Like, that's the biggest thing, is to confuse a quarterback, to make him uncomfortable, make him make mistakes. Obviously, sacks are great. But the biggest thing is to make a quarterback uncomfortable, make him think too much. And I think this defense is doing a great job. Again, if it was so last week and they played like this today, I wouldn't say the same thing. You take both weeks into account, I love what they're doing. And the sacks will come. It's kind of like last year. You look at, like, Ohio State wasn't that good at sacking the quarterback in the regular season. Then what happened in the playoffs? They were, like, awesome. Like, JT Tuimoloau, I think, had 12.5 sacks last year. I think he had 6 during the regular season and 6.5 during the playoffs, or vice versa. It might have been 6.5 during the regular season in 12 games, and then 6 in 4 games in the playoffs. Jack Sawyer, same deal. Good regular season. Took it to the next level in the postseason. So I love what Matt Patricia's bringing to this defense. I have no worries at all about what Matt Patricia's bringing to this defense. So, yeah, and we'll see. You know, if they lose to Penn State or something, they don't get any pressure on Aller, I'll eat my words. But I think this defense is going to be just fine against 4th and 1, and Oklahoma picks up the first down. John Mateer. They did a great job getting Mateer. The kid is a really good quarterback. You can look at John Mateer's stats last year at Washington State. Look him up. Bunch of rushing yards, and that wasn't even the good part of his game, best part of his game. Really good passer. Just an effective quarterback, tough guy. Oklahoma's good. I hope some of you guys got Oklahoma over 6.5 wins this year. It's ticked up to 7.5 now, but it was 6.5 all offseason. I'm like, can't go by what Oklahoma was last year, man. Mateer makes a huge difference for them. All right, let's get you out of here on this. Nate Buckeye. What is going on with Jason Moore? He's banged up. I don't know exactly what it is. And Ryan Day, we give him we kind of adhere to his wishes. We still ask him about injuries, but the one thing he's, like, really adamant about is like, guys, I don't want to talk about injuries. I get it. If you were a football coach, would you want to talk about injuries about your players and tell your opponent what's going on with your players? No, of course you wouldn't. So I get it. This is why we, acquiesce to his request For the most part, we still ask. So what's going on with Jason Moore? He's banged up. I don't think it's serious. You don't see him like with like a cast on or in a walking boot or anything like that. And he participated for most of camp. I think he got banged up that last scrimmage. And I don't think, to my knowledge, he hasn't practiced since Boomer Sooner. You can tell I'm not an Oklahoma guy. Boomer Sooner touchdown. There you go. Opening drive. Oklahoma goes right down on Michigan and scores. It's going to be a long night in Norman for our friends up north. But yeah, I think Jason Moore, it's interesting because it was 18 months ago. So spring of 2024, we're talking to Larry Johnson. And you guys have all heard this quote. You know exactly what I'm going to say about Jason Moore, right? And Larry Johnson said, yeah, he's the ideal 3-tech in our defense. I'm thinking, geez, this guy was a really good player in high school in the D.C. area, 6'6", 305, going in his redshirt freshman year. You have L.J. calling the ideal 1-tech. He's going to play a lot on that 2024 defense. He barely saw the field. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if he just, after spring of 2024, if Jason Moore just hasn't worked hard, if it's been some bad luck, just really good guys in front of him. I don't know for sure, but I know right now he's banged up. And that, as Urban used to say, that positive momentum that he had is now dissipating. So I don't know. Now it's to the point with Jason Moore. He's only in his third year, but it's like I'll be now surprised if he is a big factor for the team. Or if you would ask me like last year, I would say I'll be hugely surprised if he's not a big factor. So now it's like to the point where if Jason Moore ends up being like a big time factor for Ohio State during his career, I'll be surprised. I hope I'm wrong. All right. Hope I'm not wrong about Oklahoma winning tonight. I'm liking that. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you to all my guests. Dan Rubin, Heath Schneider, Patrick Murphy, Steve Helwagen. Thank you, all of you. Appreciate you guys. And thank you to everybody tuning in for the show. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys very much. I'll be with you guys along with Dan Rubin on the Bucknuts Morning 5 on Monday at 9 a.m. Looking ahead to the big interstate rivalry, Ohio State and Ohio University, the defending national champs versus the defending MAC champs right here in Columbus. Can't get any better than that. Seriously, thanks to all my guests, Dan Rubin, Heater, Pat, Wagon, and thanks to all of you very much. I appreciate it very much. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, a great rest of your weekend. Go Bucks.